Welcome back, Stacking the Box. My name is Mike Luciano, and I am here with former Michigan star receiver Roman Wilson, a 2024 NFL Draft hopeful after a stellar final season in Ann Arbor with a national championship ring that I'm sure he loves flaunting around whenever he gets the chance. So thank you for taking the time to be here with us, Roman.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And now you're here on behalf of SIXSTAR Pro Nutrition. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that first?
Yeah, I mean, I partnered up with SIXSTAR Protein. They help me, take care of my body, stay like well nutrition and things like that. So, after every workout, it's easy for me to just grab a SIXSTAR Protein, a collab with Fruit Loops, one of my favorite cereals. So it's been easy for me to just, you know, stay on top of it.
Always nice whenever I got Fruit Loops because we didn't have a ton of sugary cereal, but man, I love me some Fruit Loops. So
That
definitely going to check that out afterwards. So let's just dive right into how the pre-draft process has been going for you now, because even though you were on national TV a lot and you put up some pretty impressive numbers, 12 touchdowns on only 48 catches, there might be some teams who are like, well, he's a little bit of a smaller receiver. What's your response to teams that say, well, I don't know if he could be a number one because of his size? How do you go and sell yourself to teams who have those questions?
Yeah, I mean, size doesn't really matter. I know how to run routes. I know how to create separation. And I know how to get open. I know how to beat zone. So I feel like, those are the things that it comes down to. It doesn't matter how tall you are, how fast you are, how big you are. If you can't get open, if you can't run routes, if you can't find the void in zones, then you're really useless.
Now, you really started to see your stock rise after the Senior Bowl. What was that experience like? Because that was a time, even though you played against a lot of future pro defensive backs when you were playing, the Ohio States and the Penn States of the world, the Senior Bowl was the best against the best. So, what was that whole experience like?
Yeah, it was cool for me. I know I can go in and run routes, so I wasn't really too like nervous or things like that going into the Senior Bowl. So it was good for me to go out there and be lined up against a dude who I know is, the best at his school or the best in his conference. And yeah, I have supreme confidence that I'm going to go out there and get open. So it was good for me just to go out there and run routes and do what I do best and show the world that.
Now, of course, Jim Harbaugh was your coach during your last couple years at Michigan. He's obviously off to the NFL with the Los Angeles Chargers. How do you think he helped prepare you for the NFL as a receiver? Because, I mean, Harbaugh, I don't think we need me to tell you, I mean, that's a lot of running the ball and out executing people with a very methodical offense. So even though you weren't getting, 1,600 yards in 12 games, how do you think Harbaugh prepared you well for the NFL? Was it like a pro style offense? Was it just stuff outside of football? What really made Harbaugh the best coach for you?
Yeah, for me, the big things that just at Michigan that helped me become a better receiver, better person was just, always being ready. I never know when the team's going to need me and things like that, but just always being ready, always being on top of everything, no matter what's going on, whatever the situation or circumstances. And just Coach Harbaugh also teaching me that, nothing really matters if you don't win. You should be trying to do everything you can to win a game. And if that means going in there and blocking, that's what I'm down to do. Just feel like Coach Harbaugh is just put that in my head so well.
And what do you think Chargers fans can expect from Harbaugh now that he's back in the pros after kind of a long hiatus in the college game?
Yeah, I feel like I think they can expect a guy that's going to go in there and do whatever he can to win games. I feel like that's what he's done when he gets to a new program, and I feel like that's what he's going to do when he gets there.
Now, of course, Roman Wilson here, former Michigan star wide receiver, of course, team with JJ McCarthy, another NFL draft hopeful to win a national championship in an undefeated season. Now, was there a one moment where you thought, playing alongside JJ for as long as you did, was there a moment where it clicked and you're like, okay, our connection is something special here. We got a chance to really do something. Like, was it immediate? Did it gradually come over time? Was there one aha moment, maybe in a game, maybe in practice, where you're like, oh, this is different. We got something here.
Yeah, I feel like from the moment he really stepped on the field, that's where it started. But the moment where it really took off was week one last year against ECU, and I had 3 touchdowns, and most of my, if I think it's most of them, 2 of them came from like scramble drills, and it's just a chemistry thing where it's just like somehow, no matter what's going on, he's gonna find a way to find me, and I'm gonna find him. So like that's when it really started.
And what do you say to some people that are a little bit critical of both maybe him and you necessarily sometimes as a prospect where they're saying, oh, look at the numbers. They weren't throwing the ball a lot. Like everybody puts out the Penn State game, even though you guys won the Penn State game. I don't know why that's viewed as a criticism because you guys won the Penn State game, but what do you say to guys who go, well, they didn't throw the ball a lot, they didn't have the best stats, but they're still going to be picked high? What's your response to those haters?
I mean, those guys like really don't watch films. They just look at numbers. I mean, if you're looking just at numbers, every receiver, no matter how good you are, you're not going to have a great game or whatever like that. I wouldn't even say a great game. You're just not going to get the targets that you're going to have every single game. And if you base like a person off one game or a couple games, and that's not really what's going to do it for you. If you just go into the draft and draft players off stats, then everyone would do that and everyone would have the best team, but that's not how football works.
Talking here with Michigan wide receiver Roman Wilson, who took kind of an unusual path. Of course, you're an alum of St. Louis High School in Hawaii. A lot of pros coming from there. Marcus Mariota, Tua Tagovailoa coming from that school. When you look at right now the state of Hawaiian football, coming from a school where with a bunch of pros, how important is it to you as a player to kind of carry on that legacy of success in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, it's very important for me growing up. I mean, Hawaii is mostly like, if you're going to talk about like skill positions, mostly just quarterbacks, a lot of linebackers, a lot of O line, a lot of D line, things like that. But like for skill positions, there wasn't a lot of receivers for me growing up that I feel like I could look at the college level or in the NFL. And, it's important for me being the oldest guy kind of right now who's the receiver. It's important for me to, do as good as I can and represent as well as I can. But, there are a lot of other dudes who are coming out now as receivers who are very, very elite. We have a dude at USC, a dude at Arizona, just guys all over the country. And, it's just for me, like being the oldest, I feel like that's the most important. And so I feel like I got to represent well.
If you have success, there's going to be five other Roman Wilsons by this time a couple of years from now. I like that.
Yeah.
So we are here with Roman Wilson, former Michigan star. One last question that I think could really help set you apart, because right now, I mean, you're reading all the reports. There's a lot of day two guys kind of in this big miasma and a very deep wide receiver class. What's like a little fun fact or something that people might not know about you that can kind of set you apart from the rest of the pack?
Oh, I think a lot of people don't really know how smart I am and how well I understand football. It's something I'm very passionate about, and I want to learn more. And I feel like in about a year or two, I feel like it'll be something I've mastered and something I can really hang my hat on and really like people are going to start talking about. But as for now, I feel like for where I'm at, I feel like I'm very smart for like as far as understanding coverages, football, and just how the game's played.
And one last one before we let you go here. Outside of football, what's a little hidden talent of Roman Wilson's?
Outside of football, probably say as far as like so I play a lot of video games. I feel like I'm just I don't it's kind of weird saying I feel like I'm just naturally blessed at playing video games, like especially like shooters. I don't know why, but I used to be like top 500 in Overwatch. So I just feel like if the esports team needs me, like I could be a guy.
I hope Kyler Murray's listening because you may have just found another guy to. Hey,
He's not
let's.
Madden though. I suck at Madden for some reason. I don't know why.
Hey, top 500. That's nothing to sneeze at, especially
Everything
with
else,
some.
everything else, I'm good at.
And with how those Overwatch rankings are, top 500 is nothing to sneeze at.
Oh,
So
yeah. Yeah.
thank you for joining us, Roman Wilson, former Michigan star, 2024 NFL Draft hopeful. Here on behalf of SIXSTAR Pro Nutrition, thank you for taking the time to join us, Roman. We wish you well in the NFL. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Of course. Thank you for having me.